Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have The Rookie. Now, this is not the Nathan Fillion cop show. That's, I think, probably on ABC or something like that, probably right now. No, no Nathan Fillion. This is Dennis Quaid, and this is obviously about baseball. So, if that was confusing at all, well, I'm here to clear things up. Um, I'll be the first one to tell you that I'm not a big sports guy. Um, it's not like I sit in front of the TV every weekend or every night there's a game on and catch it all. No, I've enjoyed sports on TV occasionally when it's among friends and there's lots of food. That's great. And I actually do enjoy going to see games live. I've been to a ton of Dodgers games here in LA, and I've seen my share of a few live football games. Haven't seen basketball yet. I don't know. Anyway, uh, yeah, not a big sports guy. It's not like something I go out of my way to do. I'm a bit of a geek, so but I do appreciate a good sports drama, and this is definitely what that is. Disney does these very well. There's a ton to choose from under their Disney Plus umbrella right now, and we've looked at a lot of these things from Remembering the Titans, which is football, and Miracle on Ice, which is hockey. I've been to a lot of hockey games. That's right. I grew up with hockey. Um, East Coast. Anyway, this is kind of a definitive baseball lover's dream movie. It's rated G. It's from 2002. It's a 2 hours and 9 minutes long. It's based on a true story about Jimmy. There's a dog barking and it's confusing me suddenly. Jimmy Morris is his name, and I would know that off the top of my head if I was a sports guy, probably. Anyway, he's a guy who we get to see him from a very young age. He's a army brat who moves from town to town whenever he starts to make friends and settle in. It's time to move again. Connecticut to Virginia to Florida to Texas eventually. Western Texas, very desolate. And if there's anything you know about Texas when it comes to sports, it's a football town or state. It's all about football. He has a hard time as a kid even finding people to play baseball with. Eventually, he grows up in this town, this little town. I think it's called Big Lake, and in the middle of nowhere, and they don't even have grass on the field. It's just dust. It's just dirt. He grows up though to become a science teacher, and marries and has 3 kids, and uh, he's also coaching the baseball team for the school, and they can't seem to win to save their lives. It seems like it. The movie's actually not so much about the baseball team he coaches. This is very much a story about Jim. Um, it goes through the same tropes you get with any other sports movie. The underdogs rising to the occasion and defeating all odds to become champions. I know I've spoiled that, but you kind of figure that's going to be a thing. Yeah, but that's not the point of the movie. Actually, that all happens within the first hour. You can almost put it down if you pause it exactly at the hour mark. It is they're literally the team has just won. What's important about this, and again, you know how that's going to work out. It's just how they get there and why they get there. Why they get there is really important because they see Jimmy as a guy who's had his dreams denied, or at least hopefully just delayed. The guy's 39, pushing 40. He's had a life that really his dad never really supported him, and when you have these types of movies with sports and everything else, there's almost always a component where the kid is doing it for the approval of a parent, usually his father. And his father, played by Brian Cox, he's the guy who created Wolverine in the X-Men movies. He's Weapon X. He created Weapon X, but you've seen him in a ton of other stuff. But he always plays he plays a great curmudgeon-y, serious, just usually a bad guy. He's really good, and it's but in this he's just an army guy, and he's just goes where he's told, and he gives his son not an inch of affection or interest, no matter how well this kid does in school, and it really weighs on Jimmy. It it forms him, and without any direct action from Dad himself, it beats him down in a sense. It tells him that just got to buckle down, do the things you're supposed to do, and don't bother dreaming because that doesn't pay the bills. Without so many words, because Dad barely talks to him, barely gives him attention. His mom, on the other hand, played by Beth Grant. Beth Grant, she's like one of my favorite character actors. She plays his mom, Oline. But you've seen her. If you don't know that her name, you've seen her in everything. She's recently been pushing daisies. She's like a kind of woman who like does an episode or two and then that's it. But sometimes she's recurring. But anyway, when you see who plays his mom, you'll understand. Beth Grant, awesome. It's a great cast of also the kids on his team, his wife, played by, let me make sure I get this right, Rachel Griffiths, and his son, who looks up to Dad. It's his hero. And it's a very different relationship that Jimmy had with his dad. Jimmy pretty much brings his son with him whenever he's coaching, whenever he's doing practice for the team, and especially also with games. He's like the bad boy, I guess. He even has his own little uniform. But all this builds up to basically a deal between the team and Jimmy. And the team says, hey, we may suck, but you are in a situation where you're amazing. He shows them that he can pitch at an astounding speed. He's pitching 98 miles an hour. And at his age, especially, he's been injured a lot. He's played, here and there. He moved his way up the ranks to a certain point, but never to major leagues. He was pretty much always a minor leaguer at best. And he injured himself a number of times. It just threw his arm out, I guess. And it just didn't work out. And that's stuff that, by the way, that piece right there is just pretty much, you're informed of that in conversation, because they jump from him being a teenager to being a coach of the ball team in a second. His growth is pretty much hopped right over, and we get to learn what his life was like as people talk about it. And it's well acted. He's just great. He's struggling with so much. It's a drama. There's lots of humor in it too. It's not comedy, but there's humor in it, and there's a bit of romance, and with especially dealing with his wife and the struggle with whether he should follow a dream or stay and do the stable thing, taking a humongous risk. He's not getting, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself here. You kind of know where it's going to go anyway, but it's a deal that if they win, if the team that he's coaching wins X amount of games and goes to the championships, like there's always a championship, of course, that a team has to win in one of these movies, then Jimmy, has to take a shot at tryouts for a minor league team when it's time. And they hold him to it. And he does it. And he can pretty much guess where it goes from there. His dream is to be in the major leagues. You have to understand, though, just because you join even a minor league team, it doesn't mean you get to play. You have to pretty much stand out, or they have to use up the rest of their roster in some cases if you're not really that great of a player and somehow you still made it there. But he is an obvious talent, and, well, people take notice. So it all builds up to, him achieving his dream. How does he achieve his dream? Does it last? Does it all come crumbling down? It's the kind of thing you have to watch this to see. But it's a rated G movie. It's Disney, and you kind of know where it's going to go. If you're a guy, again, who's struggled with an affectionless father who never paid much attention to you, and you love baseball, and you wish that you could have achieved your dreams of being a pro baseball player in the major leagues, and that just never happened for you, this is the movie for you. If you do not find yourself at some point fighting back tears, even I was affected by this. I was fighting back. I'm just like, oh my. There's a number of moments like that. If you can't handle that, if you feel you're just way too masculine to handle to watch something like that, well, then I'm sorry for you. I think this is something you'd really appreciate and probably get a little bit of catharsis out of. I really enjoyed it. Again, I'm not a sports guy, but I like these sports movies they put on here. They do a great job. Disney getting these stories and making these movies. This movie's almost 20 years old at this point, but it's set in the 90s for the most part, yeah, it took me. I didn't realize at first that it was a true story, but yeah, whether it's like exactly as it happened, I kind of doubt, but they got to structure it in a way that moves the story along and keeps it interesting, and the struggle and everything else for the character that you can empathize with, that you root for the dude. You root for the dude for the whole thing. So I cannot recommend this enough for a whole family. It's rated G, like I said. Whole family. There's not a swear or a naughty thought or word or action at all in this film. It's pure baseball love, and it's not Field of Dreams kind of. There's no supernatural element to this. It's a real story, but it's still fun. It's still thrilling, and it still just gets you in the gut, gets you in the heart. So I highly recommend it. If you love baseball, if your family loves baseball and you haven't seen this yet, sit down and watch it and have a good cry together, have a good cheer together. It's not about crying. It's a side effect that's probably going to happen. It should happen, but you're going to feel good after this. You're going to feel good about seeing this guy's rise to his dream, to reach his dreams. So I know I've spoiled it, but come on. It's not like really spoiling it. So, anyway, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
588.
588. Oh, that was just a little bit. We're still in the thes, I think. Huh. 5. Oh, man. We're not in the thes. We have just passed out of the thes, and we just missed Thor Ragnarok by 1. That was 587. Now, hopefully this is not hearing my voice and picking that random number next time. But this one, I don't know what it is. This is from 2001, it says. I have no idea what this is. We're going to watch 3 days. 3 days. What's 3 days? I bet it's constrained to a 72 hour period. That's my guess. 72 hours of storytelling, probably, hopefully within just 2 or less. Because, man, 3 days, that'd be quite the watch. Anyway, 3 days on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow.